Have you heard of chemtrails before?
No, I haven't.
Can you tell me what you know about chemtrails?
Nothing.
Do you know what chemtrails are? Have you heard of chemtrails before?
No, I haven't.
Have you heard of chemtrails before?
No, I haven't.
Have you heard of chemtrails before?
No, I haven't.
Do you know what chemtrails are?
No, I don't.
Have you heard of that word before?
No.
Do you know what chemtrails are?
Yes, I understand them.
What's your understanding of them?
That they could be some means of dropping chemicals on the earth.
Mm-hmm. And
They look pretty much like vapor trails, though.
Could a strange substance found by a southwest Arkansas man be part of a government test? Well, that's the question at the heart of a phenomenon called chemtrails, now getting widespread attention. Well, tonight, KSLA News 12 investigation reporter Jeff Farrell shows us the results of testing we had done about what's in our skies.
It seemed like some mornings it was just crisscrossing the whole sky. It was just like a giant checkerboard.
Bill Nichols snapped several photos of the strange clouds from his home in Stamps, Arkansas. They begin as normal contrails from a jet engine, but do not fade away like a normal contrail. Soon after, he saw particles in the air.
Because we'd see it drop to the ground in a haze.
Nichols then noticed the material collecting on the ground.
This is water and stuff that I collected in bowls. I had it set out in my backyard on my dad's pickup truck.
KSLA News 12 had the sample tested at a lab. The results? A high level of barium, 6.8 parts per million, more than 3 times the toxic level set by the EPA.
Armed with these lab results about the high levels of barium found in our sample, we decided to contact the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality. They told us that yes, these levels are very unusual, but at the same time they added the caveat that proving the source is a whole nother matter.
Barium is a hallmark of other chemtrail testing, which even attracted attention from a Los Angeles TV station. There's already no shortage of unclassified weather modification programs by the government. But those who fear chemtrails could be secret biological or chemical testing on the public point to the 1977 Senate hearings in particular, which confirmed 239 populated areas had been contaminated with biological agents between 1949 and 1969. Later, the 1994 Rockefeller Report concluded hundreds of thousands of military personnel were also subjected to secret biological experiments over the last 60 years. But could secret testing be underway yet again?
I'd rather it be something inert and benign, something that's, not causing any damage, but I'd like to know what it is.
KSLA News 12 discovered chemtrails are even mentioned by name in the initial draft of House Bill 2977 back in 2001 under the Space Preservation Act. But the military denies any such program exists.
Tonight, a community in the San Bernardino Mountains has a real mystery on its hands. The official explanation here is that jet contrails are causing strange lines in the sky and that it's pollen making people sick on the ground. But others are convinced it is something else, and they ask, is the government experimenting with our weather?
There was a huge dust cloud.
Longtime Cedar Glen resident Gretchen Sherman says she has never seen anything like it.
Yes.
How big was it?
Oh, it covered the entire Cedar Glen area.
A cloud of dust, leaving a sticky yellow slime all over her car. It happened again last February, and calls began pouring into the local Alpenhorn newspaper.
And they had a tremendous upsurge of children that were not going to school at that time.
Pharmacist Ed Burrows says it is the most mysterious illness he's seen in 22 years on the mountain.
A lot of eye infection problems, upper respiratory problems, nosebleeds.
The nearby March Air Force Base say it didn't come from them. Others said it was a pollen cloud. The Department of Health found a yellowish tint on a tissue submitted for testing. But, quote, there was no sign of any biological form, such as cedar pollen, and the test was ruled inconclusive. And it wasn't long before things ballooned into a sky-high mystery. The story is not just here in Crestline in the alleged yellow cloud. People say the government is up there in airplanes spraying all kinds of chemicals to change or manipulate the weather, leaving what you see there, and they call that a chemtrail. So what I look at there and I think are contrails, you're telling me are chemtrails?
Yes, that a contrail would be dissipated by now.
It would?
Yes, it would.
Unusual spiking since the early 1990s in barium, aluminum.
But Rosalind Peterson of California Skywatch says health department records show a sharp increase in both chemicals in the water supply of Northern California, dating from the time the huge contrails first appeared over her home in Mendocino County.
What's the significance of the barium and the aluminum?
I went and got all the tests, and all these things in the same test would be up way over state and federal standards. It had to be airborne, because how could it get to such diverse regions of our county? We have jets going in every direction. X's, east, west, north, south, circles. There is something going on in the air. I don't know exactly what, but I think there's some experiment.
Only on CBS Atlanta. It's a story that has thousands of people talking tonight. We never imagined the huge response we get when we aired a story about what some say is a sinister government conspiracy.
I think being skeptical is a good thing.
Some think we're being poisoned by planes spraying chemicals called chemtrails. But is there any truth to this? CBS Atlanta's Jeff Cherico asks one top lawmaker the tough questions.
After the story aired on CBS Atlanta News earlier this month, we received thousands of emails from as far away as Poland. The writers are convinced white lines left by planes are actually toxic chemicals. They call them chemtrails. They call it a crime against humanity.
The aluminum is showing up, the barium is showing up, strontium is showing up in rainwater, and we don't know how it's getting there.
These folks who met with me at Midtown Atlanta think toxic metals are being sprayed by government planes. They say the proof is clear. Look at those lingering white lines in the sky. They think they're not just normal jet contrails.
The average duration of a contrail is usually about 20 minutes. These are lasting all day.
You see X's and S's. I mean, a normal pilot is not going to make these lines and designs in the sky.
These chemtrail conspiracy theorists are demanding answers to their tough questions.
I want to know, when are they going to tell the public exactly what they're doing?
They believe the secret government mission may be trying to control weather to combat global warming.
Please, Senator Isaacson, make a statement in public in front of God and country and let us know what this is, what is going on.
So we took their tough questions to Senator Johnny Isaacson, who sits on a committee overseeing science.
Is the government spraying chemicals to control the weather? Do you know anything about that?
I know nothing about that. I think that's again a theory that some people have, but there's no evidence that's happening, and it's not happening.
Each day and each night, a team of dedicated professionals has had the privilege of making one of the biggest dreams of humanity finally come to life. 45 countries, 950,000 aircraft, 450,000 pilots and ancillary positions, 100,000 engineers and scientists, and over 15.3 billion cubic feet of chemicals per day. This is the ultimate balance of art and science. Join us as the History Channel explores the Global Chemtrail Project. From altering weather to altering minds, the Global Chemtrail Project, or GCP, has persisted over the last 4 decades as one of the most successful global campaigns in human history, and continues to push the boundaries of delivery and experimentation to this day. With over $200,000 trillion of investment into the GCP since 1991, chemical alteration of the environment has ranked as the #1 source of reinvestment and GDP growth for 16 countries in the last 5 years, and has created over 2 million jobs over the last 2 decades. In a 2016 poll, climate change was ranked as the #1 concern for citizens of all 45 participating countries. The primary goal of the GCP has been to eliminate climate change, and since 1996, that goal has been achieved, despite recent findings that the Earth is actually warming. The Global Chemtrail Project. Spray on.
This back and follow along. In no particular order, since we mentioned Dreamer first, tell me about Dreamer.
Oh, well, when I saw the State of the Black Union, Dick Gregory really moved me and a lot of my friends. I show it to everybody that comes over the house, especially white folks, because they need to hear that, you know, so that they know more about all of us. Because what he said affects all of us. He said something that really hit home about this phenomena of chemtrails. And, you know, when I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky all the time. And so, oh, that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And the next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing, and you didn't know why. Okay? And you really didn't know why. I mean, everybody was fighting. So he started riffing about the chemtrails. And he started to say things that hit home so hard. And I would recommend that everybody try to get what he said online or wherever and try to get a copy of it and just listen to it.
What's up behind you? I see what you call death dumps. Poison being dropped on the American people. Condensation normally comes from airplanes and it dissipates because it's moisture. This does not dissipate. This is killing us. This, ladies and gentlemen, is poison. Poison being dropped on us. Nobody's doing anything about it. Congress is not doing anything about it. But this is being dropped on them and their children and their grandchildren. So what is going on behind the scenes?
It's causing Alzheimer's, it's causing fibromyalgia, it's causing cancer, and we're all victims to this.
We're all victims of it. Nobody doing anything about it. Has to be the government. Think General Motors, Ford Motor Company, GE. You think any of them are doing this? This is government operated, sanctioned.
It's CIA operated, so the CIA would have to have contract killers. Maybe it's from Air America, but no, Air America is defunct. There's another.
Well, Air America was the old CIA run in the Southeast Asia. These are unmarked, huge bomber-type airplanes with no markings on them. I've seen them, 4 of them on the runway in Lincoln, Nebraska, being operated by the Air National Guard of Lincoln, Nebraska.
Could this be evergreen?
Could be. I don't know, but they don't have any markings on them. I know that.
My God almighty. Look at this. This is outrageous. Can you imagine how many millions of dollars this is costing?
Millions and millions of dollars, obviously, are the cost of this.
And who's paying for it?
Has to be the government.
No, it has to be the people. You're wrong.
Well, the people, but the government's using their money to pay for the fuel and the poison that they're dropping on us to kill us.
Chemtrails. And chemtrails, by the way, barium salts are in chemtrails. They are 10,000 times more toxic to your nervous system than lead. They contain mycobacteria, viruses, Pseudomonas florensis, bacteria, human plasma. Wonder what human plasma is doing in chemtrails. And this is not by conjecture. I did a lot of research before I'd ever say this, but these chemtrails are nasty. And there's 3 reasons for chemtrails. The first is and I talked to my NSA buddies at Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base, and Buckley, where I was actually their doctor taking care of the pilots flying and spraying the chemtrails. So I know it's real. If anybody says it's not real, they're full of it. Okay? Because I'm a whistleblower. On the inside, it's not open for discussion. And my NSA buddies told me, 95% of them told me, they were up there trying to spray to reflect the sun out to stop global warming. So most of them are dumb enough to believe that garbage.